Hey guys, how's it going? Mr. Eric Lobach here. And today I'm going to be doing a response video to Pocketful of Primary. Let's get right into it. I hope everyone's doing great. Hope everyone's having a good time, and I hope everyone's safe during the pandemic right now. I'm doing a response video to Pocketful of Primary. She is a fourth grade teacher in Maryland, and I'm personally a big fan of her channel. I watch it all the time for inspiration and things that other teachers are doing, because it's good to see what other teachers are doing in their spare time, and also how they're teaching, what resources they're using, what programs they're using. So there's lots of good resources on her channel, and I'll make sure to link her original video down below. So essentially what it is she put out a call to teachers to either comment in her comment section or to make a response YouTube video about basically what's going on in the pandemic for you as a teacher. So that's what I'm going to be responding to. She has 10 questions, and I'll link them in the description as well. And you can make a response video as well if you would like, or if you would like, just leave the answers to your questions down below. Just tell me how you're doing. So let's just get right into it. Number 1, are you teaching in person, in hybrid, or virtually? Explain how it works. So currently I'm a grade 2 teacher and I'm teaching in person right now. So I'm in class, I have 16 students, and we're all day together. So it's pretty similar to what you would have in a regular school year, basically. The only real difference is now, obviously, with social distancing, with sanitation things in place, there's a lot more overhead to be aware of. So if you're in person, you probably know about this, making sure your kids are socially distant, making sure they're disinfecting everything, making sure they're washing their hands, making sure of everything and anything that the school board and the Ontario government, in my case, has asked you to do to make sure that your students and yourself stay safe. There's lots of overhead, but personally, I wouldn't have it any other way. I really like teaching in person. Number 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing? So because I'm a fairly new teacher, so this is only my 3rd year teaching, it really hasn't affected me the same way, I feel like, as other teachers who may have been used to teaching in a way that isn't like this. So for me personally, I really don't mind teaching the way I am right now, just because it's not really, I haven't been accustomed to anything else. So I taught in the UK in my 1st year, I taught in China in my 2nd year, and then now I'm back in Ontario in my 3rd year. And because I really haven't been set in any way of teaching, it really hasn't been that difficult. Now, that's not to say that it's easy, because it's not easy. But in terms of how I'm doing, I think I'm honestly like an 8 or a 9, because I love coming into class. I'm grateful that I'm coming into class and I'm not teaching online. That is the one thing that I'm truly grateful for. And I really do feel for those of you who are teaching online, especially in Ontario. I've heard some real horror stories. I have some friends who are teaching online, and they have classes of upwards of 50 people. And that's so much marking to do. That is so many eyeballs to be on you as well. And to keep all those students engaged, it is really tough, especially over a virtual setting. It is not easy. Question number 3. What is one positive thing about teaching in this format? So I think the one positive thing that about this teaching in this format is kind of the sense in the school and in the classroom that we're kind of all in this together. So I mean, I have a grade 2 class, and they're acutely aware of what's going on in the world. They're acutely aware of the things that they have to do, and for the most part, they're honestly pretty good. And for the students that might forget from time to time, I have a lot of students who will remind them of it too. So I'm not just the only one there. I'm not the only one there making sure that all the students are safe, but I have my students making sure that other students are safe as well. Now, some of that might be misconstrued as nagging in my class. You know, sir, why is so-and-so telling me what to do? But honestly, it helps a lot when you have, you know, trusted people in your class, especially even in grade 2, that you can have that make sure that you are, that not only you, but other people are safe and other people are doing the things that they're meant to do. So like washing their hands, using the sanitizer when they need to, making sure that we're keeping socially distant. So we played like the zombie hands game, where if you can reach out with your zombie hands and you can touch someone, then all of a sudden that means that you're too close. So when any student calls zombie hands, that means that there's probably a student who's too close to them and someone needs to move away. So it's good to have that kind of back and forth, that give and take with students who I can honestly trust in the classroom. And we're working on building that trust with other students who might forget from time to time to make sure to do all these things. Number 4, what is one thing that you're rocking while teaching during a pandemic? So for me personally, I think the one thing that I'm rocking is coming into school with a positive attitude, because I feel like that makes the biggest difference in my students' learning. So just coming in, happy always, right away, high energy, I find that that makes for the best environment in the class. And I could see it from one day to the next. If I don't come in on my A game right away, I notice my students, they're not on their A game as well. So I've been making sure I have literally a post-it note on my thing, high energy. That's what it says. Just be high energy. Make sure that you are engaging with your students. Make sure that you're keeping it light. Make sure you're keeping it funny. Make sure that you're engaging with everybody and everyone in the classroom to make things as good as possible, if that makes any sense. Because while you're not necessarily hindered 100% with all of the restrictions and everything, it still does suck not being able to kind of work in groups, work in tight-knit spaces, things like that. So everything is so much more spread out that being that engaging factor in the class is so important as a teacher right now. And if you're not doing that, I would highly recommend trying to be as engaging as possible. Even if that's not your style of teaching, try to change it up at least until this all blows over, at least until everything gets better, and hopefully it will. So until then, try to stay positive, try to keep a high energy, and that's what I've been basically trying to do. Just making sure that I come in as positive as possible, as energetic as possible, and hit the ground running when I come into class. Number 5, what's one challenge you faced and how have you overcome it? So I think the one challenge that probably every in-class teacher has faced is just making sure that you are on top of your students in terms of their social distance, in terms of their sanitation and all that stuff, without feeling like you're nagging your kids, because that can happen too, where you're just so constantly going over the rules and regulations that it kind of feels mute to them. So I've been making sure to try to make things as fun as possible when we're talking about these rules and regulations. So again, like the zombie hands or anything like that. So just keeping things light, even when we're talking about more serious things, because I find that that's what works really well with at least my group of class, because they're only in grade 2. It's hard to be 100% serious all the time with them. So I've been trying to keep things as light as possible, even when we are talking about more serious things. Number 6, what is one thing that has made teaching easier for you during a pandemic? This one really is stumping me, because I feel like there isn't that much that has been made necessarily easier teaching in the pandemic. I would say the one thing that I'm really positive about is just like the community in the classroom. I feel like because everyone is so kind of together on this, it helps build everyone up. Everyone's friendlier, I find, in my classroom. Everyone's more kind of forgiving as well, just because we're all in this together. And I find that because of that, like the school in general, the vibe just feels different. Everyone's kind of doing their thing, making sure everyone's okay. There's been a big push on mental health for students and teachers, which I'm sure has helped. I'm sure it has a lot. So I think that's really the main thing that has gotten easier during the pandemic, is just that real focus on mental health and making sure that everyone's okay. Because there are times when even myself, I don't necessarily feel 100% or I don't feel okay. And if my students feel that from me, they know to, take it down a notch, relax a little bit more. And I tell them, I'm honest with them, listen, today, for some reason, Mr. Lobach, not feeling it. So a little bit lower energy, but they're okay with it because they know that if I'm not feeling well and they're kind of going all over the place, I'm gonna get more upset with them quickly. And they know that that's not gonna make me feel as well, it's gonna make me feel even worse. So we're all kind of one big community. Number 7, what is one change you've made that will continue throughout throughout even after the pandemic ends? So I think the one big thing that I've really changed is what kind of work I do at home. So as a teacher, and again, not everyone's going to be able to do this, obviously. Depends on your load, depends on how many students you have, all this stuff. But for me, if I come home, that's it. I don't do planning. I don't do any marking or anything like that. The only thing that I really let myself do is preparing resources. I have a laminator at home. I have paper cutter at home. And I just bring my resources and I laminate and cut. That's all I do. It's busy work. It's something that every teacher has to do, but it's something that, I can throw on Netflix or YouTube or whatever I want. And I can watch a show and I can do that as I do it. And it literally brain off when I come home. Because when you're on all day, especially as a teacher, it's exhausting. And being 100% energetic and being positive all the time, it does wear on you, even if you are that kind of person. So just shutting off, relaxing, making sure that you're taking care of your own health as well has been super big in this pandemic. And as well, same thing physically as well. Making sure I'm getting a workout in every day. Even though gyms have closed right now again, I'm making sure I'm going for a run, making sure can't go for a run, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, whatever I need to do to make sure that I burn off any extra energy as well. So I sleep better, so I'm prepared for the next day. Number 8, what has been your favorite purchase during this pandemic? My favorite purchase, honestly, has been actually the webcam that I'm shooting with right now. So it's the Logitech Stream Pro, or streaming camera, and I absolutely love it. Excellent quality, so 1080p. It's got great image stabilization. It has an autofocus. It has everything that I need to be able to do this. And the problem is, I have a camera, so it's actually right here. It's the Canon EOS M100. And the problem with this camera, it does not have clean HDMI. So I wanted to record off of it, but the problem is when you plug in a HDMI cable into it, it doesn't have a clean setup. So like there's still a box around here. There's all the information of the exposure rate and all the camera stuff on there. So that stuff doesn't go away when you plug it in. That's only available for, I guess, higher end cameras. So cameras that are probably in the 700 up price range. So I don't have a camera like that. So because of that, this camera right here, the one that I'm talking into right now, absolutely love it. Number 9, how have you been taking care of yourself? So I mentioned that in the what's been the change I've made. So just making sure that I don't take any work home with me that requires me to think. I don't need to think to cut something. I don't need to think to laminate something. It's been great coming home and relaxing. Same thing with the physical exercise. Making sure that whatever energy I have at the end of the day, I burn it off. I sleep better because of it. I feel better. I feel really, really healthy right now, actually. So I've been making sure to take all my vitamins. I've been making sure to take Epsom salt baths after my workout. Just all these little things compounded to just me feeling so much better than if I were to, come home, do all this work, and then try to go to bed after. It would never work. And in fact, that was one of my big things in the beginning of the school year. I would take work home and then do it, wouldn't work out or do anything. And then at the end of the day, I'd be just like wide awake in bed. And I wouldn't know why. And now I know. It's just making sure that I shut off my brain, I run through the gauntlet with my body, and then that's it. Bedtime. And number 10, the last question. What's been making you happy during this time? So it goes back to, honestly, just the community feeling with my students. So having my students in class with me, making sure that we're all in this together has been a big help. I can see why a lot of people actually are struggling right now, because if you don't have that sense of community, if you don't have that, someone to talk to, even if it's a grade 2 student, you might start to feel lost, and that's a big thing. Your mental health is very important, and that's what I've been making sure to take care of. I've been talking to my students, I've been talking to the parents of my students, making sure that everyone's good. And because I'm talking to someone, that helps me too. Talk to my coworkers, I talk to my friends, I talk to my family, making sure that everyone is okay during this time, and making sure that everyone is at their best in terms of where they can be right now. And that's been something that's helped me a lot, and that's what's been making me happy. Just making sure that everyone is good, relaxed, and just making sure that everyone knows that we're all in this together. So that's it for my response to Pocketful of Primary's video. If you liked the video, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. I also have a podcast available everywhere where there are podcasts. If you'd like, you could take a look at that. That's Teacher's Place Podcast. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. And again, if you want to leave your answers to the questions here, I'll leave them in the link in the description. And if you want to take a look at Pocketful of Primary's video, I'll have her link in the description as well. And as always, have a great day. Bye-bye.